welcome to another episode of the Straight Shootin Rant. Hey, what's up, people? My name is Straight Shootin LJA, and welcome. I know it's been a while, but welcome to the Straight Shootin Rants. You know what, yeah? One thing I want to quickly discuss is Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. Now, there was a bit of a kerfuffle, it must be said, between the YouTuber Logan Paul and one of, pound for pound, the best boxers of his generation, Floyd Mayweather. Some would say pound for pound, best of any generation. But you know what, yeah, one thing that is actually quite funny to me is boxing as a sport. Now, I'm not a boxing fan, I'm not even a casual fan. I'm not gonna try and bullshit you and be like, yeah, I'm a boxing fan. I know, I'm an aficionado. No, I'm not. Not in the least. But it's one of them where one of the things I have noticed about boxing is that obviously in Britain here we've got Anthony Joshua and I think Tyson Fury as the two big kind of main eventers, the two kind of big draws, and I'll come into that later. But outside of that, in regards to kind of worldwide, it seems like there's no real big draws anymore when it comes to boxing. And for me, I think this is one of the kind of issues that kind of has led to the desperation, it must be said, not necessarily of the sport, but of certain people to try and basically, to coin some wrestling vernacular, get themselves over. Because I look at boxing very much in the same way that I look at professional wrestling. There was a golden era, like let's say the 90s was a golden era for main event boxers. You had Tyson, Holyfield, here you had Bruno, Lennox Lewis, Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank, among others. Like, you could name a hell of a lot of boxers back in the 90s, and now and I've never been a fan of boxing, but I could name, from the 90s, I could name a lot more guys who were big draws on pay-per-view than I could now. Paul and Floyd Mayweather thing, to me, when I first saw it, I thought that was hilarious. I saw a still image of Mayweather, by the way, during the kerfuffle, and he looked like a miniature Kimbo Slice. I swear I saw a picture, I saw a still, because he had the beard out and all that gimmick. I was like, is that Kimbo? Oh God, it's not. But for me, these YouTubers like KSI, K-Sologilly, whatever his name is, him and Logan Paul, it's like when I heard them two were fighting, I was kind of like, okay, and it was one of them ones. I couldn't give a damn. And like a lot of people obviously will tune in because of the spectacle, and it's like, oh, these two YouTubers, oh, it's like, oh, who's gonna win? Oh, da da da. And it was like, apparently they had some war of words and were sniping at each other online and all that crap. And it's like, all right, cool. You've both got a good few million followers each, and most people will have that intrigue of, they're boxing. Oh, this should be fun. Oh, let's tune in. But most of us who are not even casual boxing fans ain't really going to give a damn. But for me, it's one of them. It kind of, to me, is a bit of an indictment as to how much there is how lacking boxing is in terms of big draws since Mayweather retired. And Mayweather, to me, was kind of the last really big draw in boxing where no matter where you are in the world, if you will have heard of Floyd Mayweather in the same way as Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali in generations gone by. And I'll come back to Mike Tyson in a sec. It's one of them where it's like, it seems like there's a desperation. It's like, we need to put something out there. Oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. And then you've got boxing as a sport using pro wrestling tricks to hyper fight. So Mayweather Pacquiao a few years back, I actually watched it with with the G-Man, aka Gavin Embry. Shout outs to him. But my Pitch Talk co-host, one of them. So it's one of them. I watched it with him, and I was like, the way they're building this up, they got Manny Pacquiao as the babyface fighting from underneath, and they got the big, brash, arrogant heel Floyd Mayweather. It literally looked like Pro Wrestling 101. It was very much reminiscent of how they built up Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant at Mania 3, at WrestleMania 3. So I was thinking to myself, okay, they're using those tricks, and then Mayweather went and put on a boxing masterclass, and everyone was like, oh, it's boring, it's this and that, and it's like, well, I've been told that the art of boxing is to not get hit. You don't want to get in a slugfest. I mean, look at guys like, say, Muhammad Ali with Parkinson's, Frank Bruno with his head issues. Like, do you really want to get into a slugfest and risk that later in life? Do you really want to get peppered in the face? How about I put on some heavy boxing gloves and punch you in the face 5 times in 10 minutes and see how much you like it? See if you don't like it after the first couple of hits. So, and also as well, what a lot of people forgot is that, well, Mayweather had an unbeaten record. And if you've got an unbeaten streak, you don't want to lose that, so you're going to do everything you can not to lose it. So it's a case of, well, it's like, well, I don't want to lose my unbeaten streak. And also, hold on, I'm the champ. He's got to beat me. Why am I going to sink to his level and let him dictate to me what this fight is going to be like? No. I'm the one in control here. I am the champion. I have the championship advantage. So bugger it. He's got to come out and beat me. And if he wants to beat me, he's got to catch me first. So it's like, if you want to hit me, you got to catch me before you can bloody hit me. So, yeah. A lot of people didn't really understand that. And the reason why I made the Mourinho kind of Freudian slip is because Mayweather was essentially that night the Jose Mourinho of boxing. It was a defensive masterclass. Manny Pacquiao couldn't get near him, and if you can't get near him, guess what? You can't punch him, and if you can't punch him, guess what? You can't win the fight. So it was a tactical masterclass, defensive tactical masterclass. That incident, the way some of the media outlets reported it, Sport Bible didn't know whether they were against Mayweather or for him. On a headline, it was like, oh, Mayweather lost control and hit Paul or something along those lines. But then in the first paragraph of the article, it was like, oh, Paul antagonized him. It's like, dude, like, pick a side. Seriously, Sport Bible, and it's not the first time you've rubbed me the wrong way. It's one of them ones where it's like, pick a side. Seriously. It's either Mayweather lost control or he was antagonized. One of the two. It's not both. It's one or the other. Paul coming out with a couple of scratches on his face and a bruised eye. Dude, he's lucky. He's lucky that he didn't get his face peppered in. Because it was like, you know what? Yeah, thank God Mayweather's help got to him before Mayweather had a chance to basically cave his face in. Because if Floyd Mayweather lost control, if he had lost control in that, Mayweather would have suffered because, well, you can lose your boxing license for that. I mean, even if you're an amateur boxer and you're out on road and you get into a fight and you cave someone's face in, guess what? You're the one losing your license no matter what the circumstances. Because at the end of the day, you're professionally trained, and as a boxer, if you're professionally trained, you know how to hurt someone. And you're trained to do it. You're trained to hurt someone without getting hurt. That sweet science of boxing. Knowing how to hit someone without taking a hit yourself. It's an art form. It really is. So I just see it as this Paul guy, him coming out with a bruised eye or a black eye and a couple of scratches, he got everything he wanted out of that. The guy's a YouTuber. He's not a boxer. And I said Mayweather's Mayweather's one of the greatest boxers of his generation. So it's like, so as I said, Paul got everything he wanted out of that. He got attention, he got notoriety, and from some media outlets he even got sympathy, even though he was the antagonist. So it's one of them where I said, Mayweather didn't come out of it shining, but at the end of the day, I said he was antagonizing. Paul having the nerve to roll up and snatch his hat. It's like, dude, you're taking the piss, and you were lucky not to get your face caved in. But as I said, for me, these kind of exhibition things and all that, yeah, they will be draws, but the sport of boxing, I think, takes a hit when you start having someone from your sport taking these exhibition matches and all that. And it looks even worse, as said, because boxing doesn't necessarily have any big draws left since Mayweather left. Now, I was a fan of, I liked, in the WWF, I liked when Ken Shamrock was there. He crossed over from the UFC. Tank Abbott went into WCW. Didn't like that as much because it was poorly executed. And Dan the Beast Severn, it's one of them was, he was wasted, but he was a legitimate shoot fighter. They put him in the Brawl for All. He won his first match and was like, nah, there's too much open to chance here. I'm not potentially losing my reputation. I'm going to win, and I won, so I'm going to bow out. He was smart. Even though he was a legit shoot fighter and probably could have, to coin a phrase, he could have probably put a sandwich on most people's back, stretched them and starved them. It's like he could have wrestled circles around everybody in that Brawl for All, but it was a case of he was smart. He saw what a cluster it was and was like, nope, don't want any of this. Too much left open to chance. Nah. And if you don't know what the Brawl for All is, please, I beg you, search it. There was a Dark Side of the Ring episode devoted to it. It's hilarious as a concept. But as I said, I didn't mind that kind of crossover. Ken Shamrock had the charisma, had the intensity, had the drive, had everything to succeed as a pro wrestler. And he did very, very well. So I don't mind the crossover stuff when it's done right. But these YouTubers pretending to be boxers, basically, I don't know, for me it doesn't sit right. And as I said, I'm not a fan of boxing, so I'm not taking up for either side, but it just doesn't sit well with me. It's like that show on Channel 4 that they used to do called Faking It. I mean, there is a place for that kind of exhibition fighting and all that, but I don't think Mayweather should be stooping to that level. The whole Conor McGregor thing, I don't think he should have stooped to that level. All right, cool. It was a massive payday, and I get that. I get the business side of it. Massive payday. But do you do it at the sake of the credibility of your sport, of the sport you love? And you know Mayweather loves boxing. So, as I said, for me, it's one of them ones like, do you do that? Are you, I want to know, comment section is below. Are you a fan of the exhibition kind of gimmick fights? Are you a fan of these gimmick fights? I'm personally not. I personally couldn't care less. If I'm going to watch boxing, I'd rather watch a pure boxing match with two pure boxers. Again, Mayweather-Pacquiao was the last boxing match I watched, and that was years ago. So it's one of them where it's like, it was built very well. It was built like an old school pro wrestling match. Hogan, Andre, WrestleMania 3. It was built like that. So, yeah, comment section is below. Let me know your views. And you know what? Remember, you can catch me on Twitter. Tweet with me, follow me, see what I'm up to. At SSLJA on Twitter. At LIAM_LJA_Angel, ANGELL on Instagram as well. And also Facebook.com/straight shootin, no G, LJA. Facebook.com/straight shootin, LJA. Let me know your views. Are you a fan of these exhibition boxing matches? I personally am not. And for me, it exposes boxing as having no big draws anymore. But, hey, is Mayweather right to do it? He doesn't need the paycheck, but that Paul guy, He may not need the paycheck either, but it seems like he needs the attention by what he did to Mayweather, stealing his cap and ticking him off. Basically, poking the bear. Poking the bear, getting your face punched in. Is it really worth it? Give me 50 million quid. I don't mind getting my face punched in by Floyd Mayweather. But that's just me. But anyway, I have been Straight Shootin LJA, and this has been another episode of the Straight Shootin Rants. I will see you next time. Take it easy, peeps. Tweet with me, follow me at SSLJA, and comment section is below. Let me know your views.